What did you say?
Para secret.
What?
Para secret.
Mudda sick. Well, Mudda sick. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. This is another episode of Mudda sick. It's been a while. Life has been lifing, and obviously, if you've been watching two of our cartoons, you already know. As well as been following some of my social media pages, I sort of had to take this first. Yeah, we in June now. This first 6 months of this year, I had to sort of take my foot off the gas a little bit. Life was lifing. Not in a really bad way, but in a good way. As you already know, I might as well announce it on what Mudda sick. I am getting married, and T-minus by probably what it is. Yeah, by July around this time, I'll be married, man. Great, exciting, but it did not happen without its various challenges and sacrifices that needed to be made. But it was all worth it in the end. And along the way, starting off this year, I was supposed to start this year with this particular topic and never really got around to it. Obviously, these last 2 months with me, working in the field that I work in, being busy with the general election as well as, moving, getting stuff for home, making other preparations, just paying bills. I've been sort of preoccupied. But now that things are a little bit slowing down now, I'm about to unleash a lot of my thoughts that have been sitting. A lot of things has happened over this course of time. A lot of things have transpired, and we're in this big transition. Well, me personally, I'm in this big transition right now in my life. But oftentimes when you're in a transition, and I find it so important and why I wanted to start off 2026 with this message. But now that we are at the halfway point of 2026, this message still rings true. You might be going through so much things in your life, you might need a change, or you're in that change. And while you're about to go through a transition or in a transition, one important thing that you have to remind yourself is you have to start shedding a dead weight. You have to start detoxing. You have to start culling. You have to start pruning. You have to start just overall getting lean, because where you was is about to be different from where you about to be. And that starts with you sort of looking at everything in your life, taking circumspect, and start cleaning everything else. We just came with the spring season, and oftentimes there's a thing what's called spring cleaning, where you start just taking stock of everything and going through it and throwing out whatever you don't need. Now, when you hear culling or pruning or detoxing, is always about in reference to your own body, stop eating the junk, going on a diet, sort of jump-starting the detoxification process with some probably chemical or maybe natural substance to help you start, or, you go on a fast just to start renewing your mind and spirit. And that's what I somewhat about to start doing. Well, going on this second part of the year, starting off with cleansing the body, cleansing the mind. But along the way, now that things are slowing down, election season over, and I'm almost situated in my new state of being, I find it that now it's okay, time to declutter the mind, relax, still suffering from burnout, but that's a part of detoxing to like calming the nervous system. But most importantly, when you're consolidating life and different items, you got to start consolidating and looking at different relationships and habits that you have. And that's what I had to do. As I'm going in this new transition in my life, this transition for me has not really just solely taken place in the first 6 months of 2026, but somewhat I could almost argue started from 2023. The latter part of 2023 where I start to feel my life shifting into a new stage and phase. Part of it, that transition was sort of me mourning the life that I used to know. You build up habits, you build up mind frames and mindsets that sort of served you in that moment, but then you realize that no longer serves you anymore. You find relationships that once serve you don't really serve you anymore because you're going into a different direction in your life, and other individuals and other groups are going in a different direction or staying in the same place where you was, but you trying to graduate from that position. You have to start consolidating things, and it's not for the bad. Sometimes, most times, pruning and culling is for the good. It's hard at first. Like when you take, for instance, while I've been sitting on this detox topic, because I was saying you have to remove not the flatulence. You have to remove the feces, remove the flatulence. You are loving the waste too much. And that's essentially when you have fat stored up in the body. Like, yeah, you get fat for a season, but if you being fat, and I'm not trying to fat shame, but if you're being fat for a lifestyle and trying to see change, you're holding on to waste. You have to let it go. Like, our bodies store fat for healthy reasons, and especially out of survival when food becomes scarce. But we are always living in, well, a lot of people are living in a food abundance space to where you're not starving. So then you're just piling on a boatload of calories, and it's not going anywhere, and it's detrimental to your health. So besides that diatribe, you have the part of pruning and part of culling, and I felt like all these topics sort of come into play. With detoxing, culling, it's a removing of something that already existed in order for you or the group or organization to do better. Like you right here, you have like the Hunger Games or the culling games from JJK, or the Hunger Games actually is the series. You have these moments in time. Even in Invincible, in the last season 4 with the Viltrumites, they wanted to purge the weakness from their ranks. So they had a culling to cull the weak from the strong. And then after that, only the weak was wasted away and the strong survive. And in theory, that sounds great, but practically, that was like the worst mistake Thrag ever made, because you need some of those people that were perceived as weaker was essential for the society to progress. So you got to learn how to cull the right way. And it's a different way that whole process could have taken place. But I was reading a scripture one morning, and it was John 15, verse 2. And I'm about to pull it up because I made note of it, because it was a whole conversation where Jesus talks about pruning. And I was like, this sort of goes into what I wanted to sort of get into. As I pull it up, John 15, verse 2. So it says, I am the true vine. I'm the true grapevine, and my Father is the gardener. He cuts off every branch of mine and that doesn't produce fruit. And he prunes the branches that do bear fruit so they will produce even more. You have already been pruned and purified by the message I have given to you. Remain in me and I remain in you. For a branch cannot produce fruit if it is severed from the vine, and you cannot be fruitful unless you remain in me. And let me continue. Yes, I am the vine, you are the branches. Those who remain in me, and I in them will produce much fruit. For apart from me, you can do nothing. Anyone who does not remain in me is thrown away like a useless branch and withers. Such branches are gathered into piles to be burnt. But if you remain in me and my words remain in you, you may ask for anything you want, and it will be granted. When you produce much fruit, you are my true disciple. This brings great glory to the Father. And some people just focus on the part where you be pruned and how you're connected to the Father in that instance. And you always want to be fruitful. And being connected to the Father is a great source and understand your purpose. And if you remain fruitful, you will always be a disciple. And that was somewhat the revelation in that particular passage when it comes to, us for us as Christians to be fruitful and to remain connected to the source. But God often chastises, prunes us, puts us through situations to get stronger. But we cannot get in the way of that pruning. So sometimes when you see yourself being separated, and sometimes you're going through trials and tribulations, it's not even really to destroy you, it's to make you the best version of you. And that's why culling, pruning, detoxing is essential. Because how you can become the best version of you always remaining the same. Can't happen. You can look at a tree as we in mango season in the Bahamas right now. And the mangoes just dropping left, right, and center to where it's almost scornful. I just realized this week for the first time, and it's probably because I'm getting older, that every time I eat a mango, I have to go to the bathroom. And then, when you look up, mangoes are somewhat of a diuretic because they help clean the system due to the various nutrients that they contain. But that goes back to it. The mango prune in me, the mango detox in me. But then you could prune a mango tree, let's say, if it's not bearing a right way, or sometimes a lot of these mango trees overgrown on people's house. And every so often, they'll grow better if you prune them, cut them down to size a little bit, shape them up. Now, in the first year after that, they may not bear. Maybe second year may not bear. I remember it's a guy on TikTok told a story about how his mango tree didn't bear, and he was almost on the brink. The tree didn't bear for years, and he was on the brink of cutting it down. And then one day he walked in the yard and he could see that the tree is full of mangoes. And sometimes, a lot of times it's not when things bloom. It's not on our time, and it's on God's timing. But again, we must be open to the pruning. We must be open to the detoxing. We must be open to the culling. When things change and people change and situations change, we must be excited and encouraged. Because this is the opportunity for us to get closer to the divine and closer to who we truly need to be. Closer to our purpose, closer to our higher calling. So going back to me and seeing all these different examples is like, I started to embrace the change. I embrace being uncomfortable because I know at the end of the day, I'm just going to walk away stronger from this situation. Whatever don't kill me will make me stronger. And only the strong survive. But oftentimes, we get distracted. We overindulge. We get too big. And we might look healthy because we're producing and overbearing, but sometimes you gotta get lean. And getting lean is always the hard part. I can get big. I in the gym right now. You get big as much as you want. Bulking is fun because you can eat however you want just to gain the mass, and you look, nice and tip-top shape, but you don't see the definition, and that's when you have to get lean. So you have to cut back, and cutting back is always the hard part. Detoxing is always the hard part. Going through pruning is always the hard part because you got to know what to prune on the tree and what not to prune. Searching out the dead branches and then waiting for the process, for the healing process, for it to become bigger. Culling. Well, let's say you work in an organization and it's bloviated. It's a lot of excess waste when it comes to unproductivity. And now you have to go through the exercise of, okay, I don't need this role. I don't need exactly this role. Okay, these roles are redundant. And you trim the fat. And sometimes, we going through a lot of this with people being replaced with AI. But, from a corporate sense, everybody trying to get slim. They trying to see how I can keep, lower my bottom line and keep profits high. Especially when I feel or they feel that certain things aren't as productive and high yielding as possible. So, embrace culling. We in the middle of the year, you set goals from January 1st, and we have passed June 1st, and you have not accomplished anything. But it's not too late. If you start today, just by getting in the right frame of mind, just by setting aside and being dedicated to a certain discipline, just by sometimes even starting as pruning your environment, changing your habits, changing where you go, changing the people you surround yourself, changing the thoughts that you allow to enter your mind, decluttering your space. Unless there's a lot of things you're holding on to that you need to throw away. And why wait when you just start today? You know what it is. You know what you need to do. And don't mind that it's going to hurt at first, but it's going to benefit you in the long run. So go ahead and detox. If you got to go in that fast, that 7-day fast, 14-day fast, 21-day fast, it's not going to be pretty, but hey, you have to do it because it's better to do it today than to wait till tomorrow and try to do it tomorrow and tomorrow never comes. Go ahead for it. And you will look back on that time and it's like, boy, I remember that was tough to do, but that was the right decision to do. It was uncomfortable to do it in the present, but it paid off in the long run. And trust. You'll be like, when mother's sick. Thank you all for listening again to When Mother's Sick. I got a lot of thoughts. That was just one set of those. There's a lot of things that I've been thinking of, and then there's a lot of new experiences that I'm just taking one day at a time. I can't even react to it yet, or it hasn't settled to me yet. But slowly but surely, I'm taking that time. I just need a vacation. I'm taking that time to take things slow and take it all in. But, I want to thank you all for listening again to When Mother's Sick. Thank you all for supporting. You could follow us on everything all across Anywhere at Work, the Original People Network. For all my WhatsApp people, join the Best Kept Secret channel to keep update with all of my content. We got a lot of stuff coming on the way, and I ain't rushing to it. There's been plans, and I'm just waiting for the right moment. But stay tuned. And yeah, you about to see a lot of stuff coming. But go ahead, just go detox. Don't mind this to someone. Just spend the first. Summertime is the best time to recalibrate your life. And then you will finish strong in the fourth quarter. Until the next time, yeah, you see.